I've recently beaten Elden Ring and found out that my build is probably one of the most effective that I've ever seen. The Bloodlord. It's effective because no matter what kind of enemy you are fighting, you will always deal massive amounts of damage. Of course, there are a few exceptions, but you can always change the modifications of your weapons. And these weapons are... Great Stars. You can find them quite early in the game, specifically in Altus Plateau. First mace can be found in a carriage traveling on the road southwest of the Road of Iniquity, and the second one is dropped by Magnus, the Beastclaw, upon defeat. He might be a bit harder NPC to kill, but if you can apply bleed on him quickly, he should be much easier. Also, to find this NPC, you will have to invade him through his summon sign, and for using it, you will need Festering Fingers, and I think 3 fingers can be bought from a nearby merchant on the bridge. These huge maces inflict 55 bleed buildup and heal 1% of your total health per hit each. But that's not the maximum of the buildup, because we can still modify them with... To do that, we will need to kill Rodan and venture to Nokron. There you can find Black Whetblade that grants you more mods. This will be very important towards the late game. But if you are starting the game, there is a spell in Lurnia of the Lakes near the Rose Church that can be obtained by killing a scarab. This spell is Blood Flame, and it only needs 12 faith and 10 arcane to use, which is crazy since it adds 40 bleed build-up to your weapon and it stacks over time. It scales with faith and can be buffed with Fire Scorpion Charm. With this you can easily deal with, for example, Morgoth pretty quickly. Next spell that is a must is Golden Vow, located in one of the shacks on Mountain Gelmir. This is a faith-based spell that needs 25 faith to use, but it's worth it because of its huge 15% damage buff and 10% all damage negation. You can stack with Flame Grant Me Strength, which is also a useful spell. And for even more bleed, yes, you've heard right, we can use Swarm of Flies from Mogwyn Palace. With this one, you can stack up bleed and bully bosses from afar. Needed stats for this spell are 11 faith and 16 arcane, but even when the arcane requirement is high, it scales with faith and deals physical damage. With armor, you can go with Raptor's Black Feathers, located in Altus Plateau, in Sage's Cave, or something with huge poise like Veteran's Set or Radan's Set. But Raptor's Black Feathers have a great effect that can be stacked with Claw Talisman. That effect is a boost for your jumping attacks. The cape itself boosts it by 10%, and combined with the talisman, it boosts you by 25% in total. If you want to boost your damage by 10% after bleed infliction, you can get yourself White Mask, but it can only be obtained if you kill White Mask Invader on the edge of Mogwyn Palace, somewhere around here. This invader cannot be killed if Mog is already dead. This mask can stack with talisman called Lord of Blood's Exaltation, found under Capital in the sewers after killing Esgar. In total, with the mask and talisman, you will be doing 30% more damage to your enemies every time you activate bleed. And to make our build perfect, we will need to use some of these talismans. Some of them were already mentioned are viable option for this build, but I will be showing what I am using right now on NG+. It works in Classic Playthrough too. Great Jar's Arsenal is a must since your weapons are weighing 20 and you still need some decent armor. You will receive it after killing 3 chosen warriors of the Great Jar in Caelid. Godskin Swirling Cloth is located in the later part of the game, in Spirit Caller's Cave, and it heals you after successive attacks by 3% of your maximum HP, plus 30. 30 is a base number and cannot scale. This effect is perfect in combination with your weapons effect. This means that you should actually be healing yourself by 5% plus 40. Shard of Alexander can be dropped by Alexander after killing him or finishing his questline. It boosts your weapon skills with 15%. If you combine this with some looping skill, you are unstoppable. Speaking of skills or Ashes of War, I would recommend using something like Wild Strikes, found right before fighting Margit, or Stormcaller for AoE damage. This one can be found in a small hall in front of Godric's arena. Last talisman that I am using is Bullgoat's Talisman, found in the back of a Dragon Barrow cave in Caelid. After equipping, your poise will rise by 33%, just like in real life after you subscribe to my channel. Anyways, now we are moving to stats. On your screen you can now see the minimum requirements for this build. You should be focusing on leveling Vigor to 60 and then Strength and Arcane. Arcane raises the amount of your bleed buildup, but after 50 it's not scaling as much. While playing, I've noticed a few things about this build, and probably most important is the way you heal from your attacks. If you hit someone with only one of your maces, you will heal only 1% of your HP, but if you hit them with both, it's 2%. And you have a higher chance to activate Godskin Cloth. So what is the most useful way to hit an enemy? I thought it was the dual jump attack, but this works only on bigger enemies and it's not as good on smaller or medium-sized enemies. For these you will have to use dual running attack. This attack lands on 95%. In late game, you may have some problems with bosses that cannot be inflicted with bleed, especially last bosses like Radagon, Mog or Melena. For Radagon, I would recommend switching to heavy, so you can break his poise more often with jump attacks. And Elden Beast is pretty much the same, so the switch should still work pretty well. Mog the Omen, the one in the sewers of Capital, is immune to bleed and every other effect, so you might want to use the same technique just like for Radagon. Lastly, Melena. Melena is weak to bleed, but from my own experience I used Chilling Mist and Cold Mode on my weapons, and it was a huge difference in damage. Kill her on first try with this build.
Yeah.
Extraordinary.
Holy sh...
This is me from the future. 1.10 was released, and from what I've heard and few things I've read about it, it seems like this build is going to be even better because of the poise damage and how the new poise works even in PvP. So yeah, now this build should be fine also in PvP. Thank you for watching and see ya.